Okay guys, so here is part 2 of solving by completing the square. So if you recall, I got, and we'll link the previous video, I got x minus 7 squared equals 25 for the example that I was doing. Again, we will link the other video here, so if you are unfamiliar with that, you can watch that first part. Remember, I want to solve this. So solving this is getting x by itself. Alright, so in this case, x minus 7 squared equals 25. The x minus 7 is in parentheses squared. How do we undo something that's being squared? The inverse operation of squaring is square rooting it. Whatever I do to the left-hand side, I must do to the right-hand side. Okay, so when I square root something that's being squared, I'm just left with what's underneath. And here is the tricky part. Whenever I take the square root of a value, I need the plus and the minus because, remember, I should, in most cases, get two solutions. I'm going to leave this as is, and if you recall, the plus and minus sign is also in the quadratic formula, again, where I get two solutions. Here, I'm trying to get x by itself, so I'm going to add 7 to both sides. And be very careful about where you put this, okay? This always, always, always goes in front of that plus and minus sign. And so I'm just going to write it over here. X equals 7 plus or minus the square root of 25, okay? From here, I see if I can simplify. Well, 25 is one of our perfect squares, okay? That is 5. So 7 plus or minus 5. And we could split this up. X equals 7 plus 5, which is 12. X equals 7 minus 5, which is 2. Which means that my solutions are x equals 12 and x equals 2, written like this, or I can do my curly brackets and have my solutions like that. Again, we finished solving by the completing the square method. The key points here are making sure we have that plus and minus when I'm taking the square root, and making sure whatever I do here, whether I'm adding or subtracting, remember it's always the opposite, it goes in front. A lot of students tend to stick it here and make a mistake. It always goes in front to give you your two solutions, 7 plus 5, 7 minus 5. Again, we will link the previous video so you can watch that in its entirety about how to solve from start to finish with completing the square. All right, thanks a lot, guys.